Hi, welcome to Gladys Creations. Okay, my name is Gladys, and today we're going to be doing a collaboration called Homie Gnome with doing it together with Tiffany from Simply Blessed. Okay, and this is going to be a two-part video. Just to be fair to the other collaborators, we like to time our videos by 30 minutes apiece. Okay, so I split my video in two to be fair to everyone else. Okay, so the this video is going to consist of one large project. Okay, and it's a boy gnome, and it has a lot of parts to it that are very detailed. And I had to speed up some parts, and some parts are just regular. Okay, so we're gonna get on with the video, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, right, here we are with part one, and these are the things that we're gonna be using. We're going to be using this jar, it's an old jar, this material, and those rollers from Dollar Tree. I'm going to take the jar and paint it with Cashapp from Waverly Chalk Paint. Okay, and I'm only going to paint half of it, the top, the sides of the lid, and up halfway down the jar. Here I'm measuring the jar because I am going to be cutting the material for the top. So the width is going to be 12 inches, and then the length is going to be 5 inches, okay? And I add a little bit more because of the hem too. So I take it and I measure it and I mark it on the top of the fabric. And I change my mind. I turn it over, and then I bring out my L square. That way the measurements will be squared out and exact, okay? It won't be like one side shorter, one side longer. No, this way everything comes out exact. And as you see, I line up my ruler to the top, and I do this slowly, this part of the video, so you could see when you see me use this later, okay, why I do that. So you see how I measured 5 inches exactly, okay, and I changed my mind, and like I said, I wanted to add a little bit more, so I move it to 5.5. Okay, so take that at 5.5, and then I'm gonna do the width that I needed, the length, the part with the length, which is actually, yeah, it would be 12 inches. So it's 5.5 by 12. Okay, so I go down and I go to where it says 12. You see that little notch down there? The second one, that's the 12. And I go over 5.5. And then I line that up, and it'll give me a perfect match. An L square would never be wrong. Okay, so when you're cutting out square pieces or rectangles, an L square is really good to use. I like to use them. They call them also T squares because there's one that has like the continual part, which is short, okay, on the top, and it'll go across instead of in the shape of an L. It'll go into the shape of a capital T, like, okay? So you'll hear it said called T square or L square, okay? And I learned that in construction. So here I'm gonna cut this out, And I think, I don't know why, but I thought I speeded up this video. I guess I didn't speed up this part. Okay, that's all right. So we'll continue on, and here I do speed up the video. I'm cutting it up. I'm cutting the piece out. Okay, and then I'm doing the little corners. I'm cutting them a little bit so because I'm gonna fold over the edges so I have a nice clean seam line. Okay, so you don't see it. Not that you're really gonna see it because the top and the bottom are gonna either be behind the beard and the hair, or it's gonna be tucked into the pants, but you never know. So I take it and I clean up my edges, and I show you how I do it all the way around, how I clip the corners off, and to fold it so you don't have that bulky like lump on the corner. You cut it, cut off the little triangle of the corner and then fold it over, and you won't have that. See? Nice. So now I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna glue it on right there to the top edge of but with a free edge. Okay? Leaving like a ½ inch over from where I glued it, and then I glue the whole pieces all together. Then I go, I got out of camera, I'm sorry, but there I got back in and I glue it onto the top like that, tucking it in, because I was thinking of doing the button down more to have a collar, but you're not going to even see it with the beard and the hair. So I choose not to. Now here I'm going to do the legs, and you see I use the rollers from Dollar Tree. They have a wire in it that makes the legs bendable. Okay, so here I'm going to show you the measurements for the pants, 7.5 and 10. Okay, so here I'm doing 8 inches actually. Is it 8 that I do? Oh, I got off camera there. Yeah, 8, and then I'm going down, and you see how it's a little bit crooked, but I'm going to catch myself. Right, and then I fold over the material because I'm going to cut it double. I'm going to cut them both exactly the same. So it's the back of the pants and the front of the pants. But what I do is I don't cut that other side. I leave it connected. Then I'm going to take the rollers and I'm trying to see how I'm going to put the legs in. So I figured it out that I want them off the free edge. So I need the pants to be, the leg part to be longer than the roller. So I choose where I want it, mark it, I add about 1 inch, okay? Then I find my center point and then divide it by 1 inch, a ½ inch on each side from the center. And then I make a triangle, okay? And that's how you do the pant cut. On the tip, you want it to be squared off because if not, it's gonna get bulky right there. And even though that I cut a little bit off, squared off like that, I got a little bunchy, but it wasn't that bad. Okay, and here I'm gluing together both parts. And you want the front face part, the front part facing one another when you're gluing it together. Okay, and then here I am gluing the sides. There you go. And it did separate up there towards the top, and I just noticed it, that it got an air bubble, and that's why it separated. and I go back and I fix that. I realize that when I'm flipping it over, I think right here, see? And then I do glue it together. I just fold it over and glue it over. There you go, see? And then cut the excess glue off. Pull them back out again. And you want to make sure that the pants are dried. Now you see how it got bunchy in the middle? Imagine if I would have left it in a triangle. Alright, so here is a mistake that I do. Well, first I do the seam line on the pants. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right there, is doing the top edge seam. Now, the error is that I glue it in the middle there, and instead of attaching my legs right there before tacking the pants down, I tack on and wrap the twine around the pants and tie it in a knot. Then I have complications trying to put the legs in. So I pull the leg up and I try to do it that way, but that didn't want to work. So I had to detach everything, and well, I only detached the front of it and pulled it down to where I wanted the legs to be glued on. And you'll see that here in a minute. Now you see I'm going to wrap the twine. Get everything all ready and all set. And I tie it. And I leave this in so you could see and learn from my mistakes, okay? Now watch how I try to figure it out, try to pull the leg up and the pant leg up, all right? And there I take a piece of cloth. That's what's going to get attached to the body, the cloth. And then the legs are going to dangle. That way you can have them sitting in any position that you want him to sit, okay? So watch how I struggle. See, and I roll up the pant leg and do it that way. And that side did all right. I was able to do that okay. It's the other side that I have problems with. But I had to take it all apart anyway. Because it wasn't gluing on secured enough. And I don't want to make work that's not secured. See how it just falls off and it comes right out of the pants. So I end up taking it apart. Let me see. I stopped the video and everything while I take it all apart. Now, see, I take apart the front part and untwine the twine, and then I glued the legs on to the bottom of the jar. And then, since it's wire, it's bendable, and it wasn't hard to get them out, get the rollers in there. And that's to show you the durability that it has, that I was able to bend them and move them like that, okay? Excuse me, I'm sorry. And there you see me wrapping it up with the twine. And I wrap it around twice, and I tie it in a knot. And I leave that there because I was trying to decide what exactly I wanted to do with that twine. If I wanted to add beads or add something to it, I wasn't sure. So here I'm about to do the arms, okay? And I cut out the two pieces, okay, of the arm, and they're 4 inches wide, 6 inches long. Well, more to 8 inches long because I add 2 for the flap of the arm, where the shoulders are going to be at. So there I glue those together like so. And then I glue here, I'm going to glue the top part. And I show you how I want to keep that, okay? because what I'm actually going to glue onto the body is the end part that's like a flap, and the part of the not the part of the roller. So I end up taking the rollers out. Yeah, I leave them in for now, but I end up taking them out, and then on the tip, I take the tip that's going to go all the way in. I add glue to it and then push it up against the body and the material of the arm. You'll see that now. Now there I'm attaching the two flaps, and you see how the arms are falling out? So I end up pulling them out and then gluing the end. See, I pulled it out and put glue, and I push it right up against the fabric and the bottle. And I put a lot of glue when I do that. And there you go. Now you got foldable arms. Now I take the head and I shave it a little bit down. I glue it down, and then I measure what the hat fits like. Now I take a black marker and go all around the edge of the hat on the ball and put the line so I know where my hairline is going to be. Okay, because I don't want to put hair under the hat, because then I won't be able to switch out the hat, because then be glued to the hair, and then I'll have to get rid of the hair and get rid of the hat too. So this way I can keep the hair in. Now here I'm marking exactly where I want my cuts, and I part the fur so I don't lose fur when I'm cutting it. So I don't cut any of the fur. All I'm doing is cutting the right along the seam line of the material part of the fur. You see, so I'm cutting right on that part line. That's where I'm going to be cutting at. And my line is not straight at all, but I get it straight enough. Alright, and this is the hair for the back and the sides, okay? Then I'm going to cut a triangle out for the beard, and I want it to be 3 inches long. So I make my triangle up to 3 inches. And I do my triangle in the part, and then I follow that part and cut it. Comb it out, get all the hairs really nice, trim them, and then there you go. So now I'm going to take it and attach that to there. And I'm going to attach now the hairline. And he looks like an old man with long hair that's balding. It's so funny. He's so cute. I like him. There, I cut the excess off. Okay. And glue the hairs together to make it all one piece. Comb it out. Now I'm going to get I think I'm going to get the bead. Yeah. I'm going to get the bead for the nose. And I stuff it with spackle. I smooth it out, and then I paint it with peach. Oh no, I painted it with cashew. Okay, I made him cashew, and I glued the nose on while it was wet. It dries really fast. Like, that's why I love chalk paint. It like dries fast. By the time I'm done cutting this mustache part, it's already dry. It dries that fast. So there, I put in the mustache. There we go. Glue that on. You see, he looks like an old man, bald old man with a beard and mustache. He's so cute. And I put the cowboy little hat on him. And now we're going to make the hands and feet. And I'm going to tell you, you see that clay there that has that red mark? Don't ever buy that at Hobby Lobby. You see the regular price on that, $12.99? That is junk. Like, junk. I bought it. I should have known when I bought a piece that big for only $2.99, $10 off. Um, I rolled it. It kept like it wasn't dry, okay, but it felt like mobile plastic, and it formed and everything. But then when I would roll it, you see how it came apart? It just broke apart. So I said, let me add the glue so it sticks to the aluminum. It wouldn't stick to the aluminum. Here I'm trying to make the hands. I want to show you me making one hand, because look at how long. That's just doing a ball, a simple ball. And then like the back edge of it, sticking my thumb in it, okay, and so it's like a curved hand. And here I'm going to show you it in a minute. And I glue a little thumb on top, okay, and I only show you me making one hand because, and one foot, because the other glue, the other clay is good, the black one, okay. And there you see the two hands. I thought I showed you it, but you see it in the final reveal really good. Here I'm showing you how I wrote, well, I thought I was showing you. I just rolled it into like a square, an oblong square, like kind of. All right, and all I'm doing is just molding the clay into an oblong shape. And then here, I take a piece, well, I already did it. This is the second one. What I did was the second piece that I did, that was the third piece I was cutting. And here you're seeing when I make the oblong. Now you see that second piece there? That is the part that I'm making the heel part of the shoe, okay? Now I'm going to show you me working with this clay. Now this clay is also polymer clay, but it's from Craftsmart. And I got that on Amazon. Great polymer clay. It worked nice. It was nice and smooth. You see how I'm rolling it, and I get the lines out. It warms up with my hands. I have no problems. It doesn't stick to my rolling pin. It stuck a little bit to the mat. I don't know, but I guess it was from the stuff that the other clay had or whatever. But it worked really nice. As you see, I in a couple minutes, excuse me, did the shoe. And the shoe is more harder than it is to do the hands. And you see there, I mold the heel in. And then after that, I stick my thumb in the front part a little bit there. I did it off camera, and I'm so sorry. There I'm just forming the heel. That's all I'm doing. You see the heel on the bottom there? I showed it. You can slow down the video and catch it that way. All right. And I only show me making one shoe. And then I go and I bake them and I put it in. And then you see that clay? It's like translucent now. And it said skin tone for the color. That's translucent. That's not skin tone. So I had to paint them cashew, okay, to match the nose. You could see that it was like really plasticky there compared to the shoes. Now look at the shoes. They didn't look like that, you know. And look at how much easier the shoes that weigh more glued on. I just, helped support them there. Now there I get a spoon and a fork that I got from Dollar Tree, from like the serving stuff for the party wear. Okay, they were the perfect size, and I glued them to the hand. Look, I couldn't even glue plastic to them. That spoon fell off like 3 times. I had to glue it on. All right, so don't buy that clay. And here he is, the final reveal. Now stay tuned. After this video, I have another video for part 2, and it's the little girl, okay? So thank you for watching. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hope to see you in part 2. And check out the collaboration. There's some really good creators on there. Check out that playlist. It's amazing. The girls do beautiful work. And check Tiffany's channel out. She is great at making gnomes. And thank you again for watching. Like, share, and comment, and subscribe. See you in part 2, okay? Bye-bye.